Good morning, children.
Good morning,
Good
ma'am.
morning, ma'am.
We learned about heart in our previous class. We discussed about the different blood vessels and we started with the structure of heart. So the points we learned about heart, just quickly summarize so that I can proceed to the next part. Gayatri, just start. Tell me the points we learned about, we discussed about heart yesterday.
Heart is a mesodermally derived organ
Hmm.
and it is located in the
Mediastinum.
mediastinum.
Okay,
And
enough.
protect-
Anna, enough. Anna,
Ma'am,
continue. It's covered by,
it is between two lungs, situated between
that
two
is
lungs.
mediastinum, she mentioned it. Now, heart is covered by a double layered membrane. What do you call this membrane?
Pericardium.
Pericardium. Then, in between the pericardium, what is there?
Pericardial fluid.
Pericardial fluid. For what? What is its function? Function of pericardial fluid? Anna?
It protects.
It from what? It protects it from Nevin. What is the function of pericardial fluid? Nevin? Wither? What is the function of?
It reduces the friction between the heart
It
walls.
reduces the friction between the walls of the heart and also the surrounding tissues. Then, what else we learned now, Reen?
The heart is four-chambered to upper atria and to lower ventricles.
Yeah. Then, next point, Malavika.
the walls of the ventricle have thicker walls than that of atria
What is the reason, Malavika?
because they have to pump blood to different
Okay,
parts.
good. Yes. Then, Rijas, next point.
Atria are separated by interatrial septum.
Septum and ventricles by?
Interventricle septum.
And what separates auricles and ventricles?
Atrioventricle septum.
Atrioventricular septum. Then, Michael, next point. Tell me about the valves.
Each of these septum have openings called valves. There are four valves: the tricuspid valve, bicuspid valve.
Okay, tell me the location of tricuspid valve.
Tricuspid valve is between the left atria and
Tricuspid.
the left ventricle and right ventricle.
Huh? Left and right, is there any exchange of blood between left side and right side? Blood will never mix up. The blood present on the right side will never mix with that present on the left.
Oh,
left and right.
left
Only
atria
the that is very important because oxygenated blood should not mix up with the deoxygenated blood. What will happen if it is getting mixed up? The efficiency of oxygen transport will be affected. There will be shortage of energy, and being warm-blooded animals, we need a better supply of oxygen to ensure efficient release of energy. Yes, Michael, then where is this tricuspid valve present? Between? Who will help him? Wait. Nandana, just help him out.
Right atrium and right ventricle.
In between right atrium and right ventricle, tricuspid valve is present, and bicuspid valve, Michael, between?
Left atria and left ventricles.
Between left ventricle, not ventricles, left ventricle and left atrium. Then we have semilunar valves, and these there are two types of semilunar valves. Which are they? Steffi, the two semilunar valves. Same question last day you got, no? Yes.
Pulmonary valve and aortic valve.
Pulmonary valve and aortic valve. Aortic valve is present between the aorta and left ventricle, whereas pulmonary valve is between pulmonary artery and right ventricle. Okay, now we'll continue. Next, we are going to learn about the conducting system. conducting system of heart. Means the system or the technique or the organs by means of which the impulses are generated in the heart, making it beat and pump blood to different parts of the body. So conducting system of heart includes nodal tissues, bundles and fibers. So conducting system, the heart has to function. The functioning of heart is brought about by nodal tissues, bundles and fibers. Nodal tissues, they are specialized cardiac musculature which is present in the heart wall. So nodal tissues, these are some specialized cardiac muscles or cardiac musculature, and these you can find in the heart wall, and there are two types. Two types of nodal tissues are present. The first one is Cyanoatrial Node, and in short form, we call it as SAN, Cyanoatrial Node, and it is present in the right upper corner of right atrium. Okay, just a minute. So in the right atrium on the upper corner, upper right corner of the right atrium, you can find cyanoatrial node, which is abbreviated as SAN. Then the second one is AVN or atrioventricular node. Both are present in the right atrium. One is on the upper right corner, the other one is on the lower left corner. See, two are there, two nodes are present. And the first one is SAN, the second one AVN. SAN means cyanoatrial node and AVN means atrioventricular node. Both are present in the right atrium, and one is on the upper right corner, the other one is on the lower left corner. Easy to remember. Upper right, lower left. Okay, and both are present in the right atrium. And what are these nodal tissues? So nodal tissues, as I said, these are specialized, or we can even call it as a small mass of specialized cardiac muscle fibers. A small mass. As you can see, you will find it as a small bulge or projection. So it's a small mass of specialized cardiac muscle fibers which are present in the walls of right atrium. Two are present, and first one is SAN, cyanoatrial node. The second one, atrioventricular node or AVN. Both are present on the walls of the right atrium. And SAN is present on the upper right corner and AVN is present on the lower left corner of right atrium. From the AVN, from atrioventricular node, you should be familiar with the abbreviations also. AVN, that is atrioventricular node. So arising from there, a bundle of fibrous atrioventricular bundle, AV bundle. It's abbreviated as AV bundle. Don't get confused between AVN and AV bundle. So in the beginning itself, I told that the conducting system of heart comprises of nodal tissues, bundles and fibers. So about the nodal tissues we discussed, and arising from AVN or atrioventricular node, you can see a bundle of fibers. You call it as atrioventricular bundle because it is arising from AVN, AV bundle, and this will be passing through atrioventricular septa. And you know what is meant by atrioventricular septa? The partition or the partition which is separating atrium and ventricle. That is known as atrioventricular septa. So it passes through the atrioventricular septa and emerges on the upper interventricular septum, on the top of interventricular septum, and gets divided into right and left branches. I'll repeat it once again, and from the next figure it will be more clear. And here also you can find, but still in the next figure it will be a little more clear. And I'll repeat once again, from the atrioventricular node, a bundle of fibers, you call it as AV bundle or atrioventricular bundle, and this will pass through atrioventricular septum and they will emerge on the top of or upper part of interventricular septum. I'll repeat once again. This will be arising from atrioventricular node and this will be passing through atrioventricular septa and they will emerge on the top of interventricular septum and gets divided into right and left bundles. So I'll show you once again, right and left branches. So this one is SAN, this is AVN, and a bundle of fibers will be arising from which one? AVN, and this bundle is known as AV bundle. They will pass through atrioventricular septum, and where it is getting emerged, this is interventricular septum because it is dividing the ventricle. So it will emerge on the top of interventricular septum. It rises from here, passes through the atrioventricular septum, emerges on the top of interventricular septum, and you can see it is getting divided into two branches. Hope it is clear. I'll repeat it. A bundle of nodal fibers, AV bundle, they arise from the AVN, pass through the atrioventricular septum, emerges on the top of interventricular septum and gets divided into right and left bundles. And these bundles, as you can see, they are moving along the inter or ventricular walls. As given in the picture, these right and left bundles, they'll be passing through the ventricular walls, and these right and left bundles are further divided into minute branches, as you can see in the picture. So right bundle, left bundle. Here as it is given, right bundle and left bundle, they are further divided into smaller branches, and these branches are known as Purkinje fibers. It is named after the scientist who found it out, and the name of the scientist is Jan Evangelista Purkinje. You need not know his name, or just know the name, that is Purkinje, the last name. Jan Evangelista Purkinje. And these fibers are named after the scientist Purkinje. Once again, I will repeat. A bundle of fibers known as AV bundle. It will be arising from AVN, atrioventricular node. It will be arising from here and they will cross this is atrioventricular septum, and they will be emerging on the top of interventricular septum, and then they will be dividing into right and left bundles, which will be further divided into smaller fibers or small branches, and those fibers you call it as Purkinje fibers, and the bundles we call it as a right and left bundle. And these fibers, Purkinje fibers along with right and left bundles is known as bundle of His. We call it as bundle of His. It's also named after the scientist Wilhelm His. Wilhelm His. So it is named after the scientist who found it out. So what is meant by bundle of His? Purkinje fibers along with the right and left bundles. So simply you can't say right and left bundles. If the question is asked, you should write from where these bundles are being formed. Right and left bundles, how are they being formed? So from where it is arising, this AV bundle, it is arising from the atrioventricular node, and they will pass through the atrioventricular septa and emerges on the top of interventricular septum and gets divided into right and left bundles, and these bundles will further get divided into smaller fibers. Fibers, you call it as Purkinje fibers, and these right and left bundles along with the Purkinje fibers is known as bundle of His. Nodal tissues. Now, what is the role of these nodal tissues? So in the beginning, I told you the conducting system of heart consists of nodal tissues, bundles and fibers. So now we have discussed about bundles, fibers and nodal tissues. And the function of the nodal tissue is to generate action potential. An electrical impulse will be generated and it doesn't require any external stimuli. It is auto-excitable, that without any external input, it can generate electrical impulses on its own. That is a speciality of these nodal tissues. It is in response to these electrical impulse that the heart pumps blood, or the different, heart has to beat to pump blood to different parts of the body. So that is generated by, or that action potential for that is generated from the, or generated by the nodal tissues, and they are auto-excitable. Auto-excitable means to get excited and to release the electrical impulse. They don't require any external stimuli. They are capable of carrying it out on its own. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, cyanoatrial node initiates and maintains. So, initiation of this impulse, it's by SAN or SAN. It will initiate and helps in maintaining rhythmic contractile activity. You have learned in lower classes that the cardiac muscles or heart keeps on working or undergoes rhythmic contraction and relaxation without taking any rest till the end of your life. And it is SAN that initiates and helps in maintaining the rhythmic activity, contraction and relaxation of the heart by generating maximum number of action potential. So in response to these action potential, heart beats to pump blood to different parts of the body. Per minute, your heart beats 70 to 75 times. That is the number of action potentials. So it will release, or it will generate maximum number of action potential, that is approximately 70 to 75. And we call it as the pacemaker. So SAN is a pacemaker. The reason for that is it initiates and helps in maintaining the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart by generating maximum number of action potential. So it is our natural pacemaker. We all have this natural pacemaker, will generate these impulses, enabling our heart to function smoothly. But sometimes due to over medication or surgery or heart failure, so due to different reasons, there can be fluctuations in the heartbeat can slow down. So in order to rectify it, artificially pacemaker can be introduced or inserted in your body. It will be fixed beneath the skin in your chest region, and that will help in bringing the heartbeat to the normal rate. So some people, this is SAN is a natural pacemaker. SAN is a natural pacemaker, but people who are having slow heartbeat or fluctuations in the heartbeat due to different reasons like surgery, heart failure, or over medication and all, temporarily and permanently. Depending upon the requirement, pacemaker can be inserted into the body, which will help in generating these action potentials. Okay, before we proceed, I'll repeat the points once again. Conducting system of heart, I'll be repeating once again. Those who haven't understood, please do listen. Okay. The conducting system of heart consists of nodal tissues, bundles and fibers. All these three together helps in the proper functioning of a heart. And starting with the first one, nodal tissues. So nodal tissues, it's a mass of specialized cardiac muscles present in the heart wall. To be specific, they are present on the walls of right atrium. There are two nodal tissues, SAN and AVN. SAN is situated on the upper right corner of right atrium, whereas on the lower left side of the right atrium, we have atrioventricular node or AVN. Okay, that is about its location. And then we learned about bundles and fibers from AVN. I think that is, even though the color is not so, just a minute, everything is in red, so you might find it difficult. Other than that, I think this picture, the formation or the transfer of these fibers is a little more clear over here. Just a minute. Let me take a different color. Okay. And from the AVN, so as I told you, this is AVN. So from the AVN, a bundle of fibers known as atrioventricular bundle, it will be passing through the atrioventricular septum, the septum which is separating atrium and ventricle. So it will be passing through the atrioventricular septum, and they will be emerging on the top of interventricular septum, the one which is separating right and left ventricle. So it will pass through the atrioventricular septum and emerges on, see, you can see here, see, it is passing through in atrioventricular septum and emerging on the top of interventricular septum. Then they will get divided into right and left branches. And as you can see, they'll be running along the walls of the ventricles, and they'll be spreading across the entire ventricular musculature. And then these bundle, each of the bundle, right and left bundles, will be getting divided into smaller branches. And what do you call these branches? Purkinje fibers, named after the scientist. And the right and left branches of AV bundle, along with these Purkinje fibers, are known as bundle of His. That is also named after the scientist Wilhelm His. And nodal tissues. Now, what is the role of this nodal tissues? Nodal tissues will generate action potential, which will bring about the proper functioning of a heart. And these nodal tissues are auto-excitable. They don't require an external stimuli. Action potential can be automatically generated in these tissues. And out of the two nodal tissues, Cyanoatrial node is considered, is said to be natural pacemaker because it initiates and maintains the rhythmic contractile activity. You know that our heart contracts and relaxes continuously without taking any rest. And it generates a maximum number of action potential, that is 70 to 75 times per minute. And you know it is same as our heartbeat. It ranges between 70 to 75, or on an average we can say 72 times per minute. But that will definitely fluctuate depending upon For example, if you check your heartbeat immediately after climbing up the steps or taking part in an athletic meet and all, it will definitely fluctuate. That is different thing. But under normal conditions, this is the normal range. And we call it as pacemaker, natural pacemaker. Artificially also, pacemaker can be introduced in your body in order to make the, or people who are having slow heartbeat and all, in order to make it normal, this can be inserted. And this is usually required by people whose heartbeat gets fluctuated due to surgery, over medication, or heart failure, etc. It can be inserted temporarily or permanently according to the requirement or according to the suggestion by the doctor. Now, any doubt? Yes, any doubts you have?
No,
No.
ma'am.
Quickly summarize. Punya, because these can be a little complicated and confusing. So quickly we'll summarize before proceeding to the next one. Yes, Punya, just start.
The conducting system of heart has nodal tissues, bundles, and fibers.
Lydia, continue. Tell me about nodal tissues.
They are specialized cardiac musculature present in
Walls of? Where do you find them? Which chamber? Walls of which chamber, you tell me. 4 chambers are there. Where are these nodal tissues present? On the walls of which chamber? Ingy Pingy Pongy, tell me one. Let it be wrong or right. Give me an answer. You know the 4 chambers. Lydia, any one chamber. Let it be wrong. Don't waste time. Right atrium, left atrium, right ventricle, left ventricle. Any one you can choose. Don't search
right
for the answer.
atrium.
Found out the answer by now. Okay, right atrium. And tell me about the location of SAN and AVN. Vidur, where are these 2 nodal tissues located?
SAN is found in top right corner of right atrium, and AVN is found on the lower left corner of.
Correct. Which chamber?
Right
atrium only. No need of any confusion. Both are present in the right atrium. One on the upper right corner, the next one on the lower left corner. Okay, now what is the role of these nodal tissues? Steffi, what is special about these nodal tissues? Steffi.
Yes, ma'am.
What is special about these nodal tissues? I told some term. These are? What do you know? What you have understood, you say. Let it be a different point, no problem.
Those divide into, they pass from
What is the role of nodal tissue? They'll generate what? Something is generated from the nodal tissues. What do you call it? Anna? What do they generate? Where are you, Anna? What do they generate? I can't hear you. Action potential. From your lip movement, I understood, but I can't hear your voice. You said action potential, no? They generate action potentials and... okay, now I can hear. You wanted to verify the answer, then speak out loudly, Anna? No. So they generate action potential, and these are auto-excitable, means they don't require any external stimuli. And then tell me about bundle of His. Sania, what do you mean by bundle of His?
The bundle of His is the bundle of, like, from AVN, AV bundle arises. It passes through atrioventricular spectrum and
emerges on the top of interventricular. You relate with the figure, then you will get it. Emerges on the top of interventricular septum. Then what will happen?
And they branch into minute fibers called...
First they should get divided. They will divide into right and
left.
then they will further get divided into
minute fibers
What
called
do you?
Purkin's fibers.
Purkinje fibers. And what is bundle of His?
The Purkin's fibers and left and right, which is divided before is together.
The bundles plus Purkinje fibers is known as bundle of His. Okay. Next is about cardiac cycle. It's a cyclic contraction and relaxation of heart for pumping blood. You know that it keeps on getting repeated. It's a cyclic process. It never stops. So that is known as cardiac cycle, or you can define it as the cyclic contraction and relaxation of the heart. What for? For pumping blood. And there are three main stages in cardiac cycle: joint diastole, atrial systole, ventricular systole. So the three phases are joint diastole, atrial systole, ventricular systole. Ventricular systole, atrial systole, and joint diastole. About each of these stages you will be learning in the next class. Okay? No doubts, no? Have you got any doubts? No.
Ma'am, could you
Yes.
repeat the last names?
Atrial joint diastole, ventricular systole, and atrial systole. Okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
So see you
Ma'am.
next class. Oh,
Is nodal musculature same as nodal tissue?
once again.
Nodal musculature is
Yes.
same as. Okay.
Because nodal tissues itself means specialized mass of cardiac muscles. So it's same. Okay? Thank you.